today, and alongside him, Mitch Rees. They get set to go. Who's going to get the drop? One more to go on. They'll go out, and it's a great start once again for Damon Rees. Good start to Real Stand's going to cost him a little bit for Scott Moyer as they head down into turn 1 here at Hampton Downs. So anybody's guess is how this one's going to turn out. They will head down and down the big back straight here at Hampton under the laser plumbing electrical bridge, and yeah, there's one or two of them already starting to get a little bit of a gap as they head down into the Foster's turn. This is turn 2 here. That's still a Honda in the front by the look of it now. It's not. I think I might have called that wrong. I think it might be Sloane Frost now. So we'll have a look from our next position. You'll see them this time as they work their way through Swampy's curves. Is it a Honda? Is it a Suzuki? It is a Honda, and Honda's running 1 and 2. So that may be the brothers Rees, Damon and Mitch, up into first and second place. Have a look on the Ctas if we get it just a little bit closer. Exciting stuff. Do you still get excited by this, Cros, when you're watching it and it's Kiwi boys out there?
Well, I get excited, but I'm bloody glad I'm not out there doing it.
Graham Crosby up here with us, providing the comments as these guys get about their work. Is it the 2 Rees boys? It's Honda's 1 and 2 at the moment. Then it's the Suzuki. I'm picking that'll be Sloane Frost. We'll have a look as they work their way into the Porsche Dipper. Yes, it is. In fact, it's not. I think it is Scott Moyer. I think it's Frost in behind him. Just looking on the pace on the Ctas footage there for the ball. It doesn't take them that long to do a lap here at Hampton Downs. They're down the short chute and into the sweeper, the Daylight Pirelli tyre sweeper, and we'll get a good look as they come up this time. Remember, it is the TT, so it's extra distance. It's a marathon, not a sprint this time. It's for full 15 laps, so it's nearly double what they've been doing. Across the straight they go. It is Damon Rees, it is Mitch Rees, it is Scott Moyer, it is Sloane Frost, I think, and then Scott Moyer. Daniel met him also up there as well. Robbie Bugden out of Australia. We talked to him a little earlier on, and he said he knows that the bike's got the speed. He just needed to have a little bit of luck, and it looks like he's got some luck at the moment because he's in the top 5 as they work their way once again down the long back straight here at Hampton Downs into the Foster's turn. No real change. Damon Rees, Jay Lawrence, in fact, it is credited with second place. The man on the Carl Cox Motorsport Suzuki. So Honda, Suzuki, Suzuki, the order at the moment, and then the Yamaha in 5th place, and that is Robbie Bugden. It's a good track, isn't it? That extension seems to sort of complete things here.
Yeah, I think you need to do a few laps before you find out where the hell you're going, but it's what I like about it, particularly I think they call it the double bastard.
Yeah, they do.
and it is, but it's kind of, it really flows nicely, and it brings you into that really tight hairpin. Quite as a bit of a surprise, I'd say.
Good fun on the Legend bikes?
Yeah, well, I was running one, you know, just a standard
saw that in the last
GSX, which is great. It's a good bike for around here, that's for sure.
So they head down into the Porsche Dipper once again. And if anything, Damon Rees just starting to extend it. He had problems in the last one. They had trouble with the front end on the Honda. No doubt they've made some fine fettling and got that sorted out. Down into the sweeper they go once again. Rees in the front. Jay Lawrence sitting up in 2nd place. Celebrated his wedding anniversary yesterday, 6 years. Married to Rachel. He'd love to crown that with a great wedding anniversary present with a TT top. As they come up over the top. There's Rees, there's Lawrence, there's through. Indeed, it's Robbie Bugden. So Bugden's got up in front of Daniel Meadow. New Zealand Superbike champion, past Suzuki Series champion, finished 2nd last year, and then Jaden Carrick from Wanganui doing a great job, rejoining the season after an early mechanical issue with his Wanganui Toyota Kawasaki. So Jeremy Holmes all the way from Invercargill, Tim Shadbolt country, and Livio Zamperi there as well. So no change with the front runners as they work their way once again into Swampy's curves and down through Kev's carousel, heading for the double B, the double bastard, and back onto the existing circuit. Plenty of laps still to go. 1:35.808, the fastest lap so far for Damon Rees. The gap, 0.5 of a second. It's what we've come to expect here is Superbike racing in New Zealand, certainly in the New Zealand Superbike Championships, and certainly here at Hampton Downs. First time for all the motorcycles on the big circuit, and great to see close racing. In and out of the hairpin, the high pull hairpin they come. Just got a glimpse there of Jaden Carrick, so he might have moved up a spot there. He was battling withdrawal. We got one off. Just see who that is. The bike, the rider's okay. Just scrambling to get the bike off the circuit so we don't have any yellow flags. We'll pick up on that when we get some time, but meantime at the front of the field, they're already down the bottom end of the circuit. Young Damon Rees, he's the current 600 New Zealand champion, raced in Australia in our off-season, had the misfortune to badly break his ankle. This is his first time ever on a superbike as he heads up the trail of the hill now. Just a little bit of a lose in the front end, but look, a scrap going on for 2nd and 3rd. Jay Lawrence and Scott Moore. They battled like this at Wanganui in the Suzuki Series in the second race in the Superbikes at Wanganui around the circuit there. That's around 1.4 kilometres. This is 4 and vastly different, but they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So we look to see, I think the rider that went down has regained, so hopefully they might get some points for finishing, because yes, this is a TT title, and it's important that it's Did you have a TT title when you were racing back in the day, Cross? You didn't race at Waiheke Island, did you, in the 30s?
Oh, spare me, spare me. No, they didn't even have a ferry in those days.
You're probably right, actually. I know we've talked about this before, but I'm going to ask you, did you think when you were the young tearaway in Mongier that you'd ever do what you've done?
No, but it is interesting, and I'm not the only person, you know, there's a lot of young kids that have got out there and did their thing, and then suddenly you realise there is life after racing. And what we're doing currently here at the moment is part of that, and it's really good to be. You don't have to go real quickly; you just have a cruise around. But it's kind of like giving back something to the sport.
And you sort of found that life after in aviation, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Did it sort of fill the gap after bikes?
It did until
These guys are really flying as they cross the stripe once again. 4 laps are just coming up to quarter distance. Damon Rees continues to lead it. He's got the advantage out to 1.3 seconds. Robbie Buckton, 5-time New Zealand champion, called in as a injury replacement for Hayden Fitzgerald. He's been running 5th and 6th over the weekend so far. He's up to 2nd place. I talked to him earlier on, and you guys might have seen this on the YouTube, or you might have seen it on our television coverage, but a few years ago now, epic racing between him, Stroud, and Chris Seaton of Australia at Pukekohe, and Bugden came out of the hairpin and wicked it up going up over the hill and ended up on the grass and just never backed out of it, and it won him a championship, so he's certainly got the pedigree. So Robbie Bugden out of Queensland, Australia, in 2nd place as he went across the stripe that time round. Feel free to comment, Cross. Graham Crosby, our special guest here, he's a bit captured by this action here, and what action it is, because and Damon Rees is now feeling the hot breath of Robbie Bugden. By the look of it, in fact, they're just coming out of the hairpin down into the Porsche dipper they go, and out onto the short chute.
I'm just thinking, you know, these things are not easy bikes to ride, but they're also, you've got to start looking at what it takes to get one of these on the circuit to do the lap times you know that we're seeing now. And most of the guys get out there might do 10 laps at the maximum, but we've got 15 laps here. Suspension changes, tyres get warm, you know, the bike's handling differently. So towards the end of the race is going to be, I think, a bit of a telltale as to who can set bikes up in the long distance.
Well, I was actually going to ask you about that, because you see that in all forms of motorsport, don't you? Do you set the thing up to work early, or do you set to work up late? And I guess there's not too much you can do. I guess tyre pressures and things like that come into it.
Well, but you've also got the physiological thing as well. But you know, 15, you know, if you're young and you've been training and you've got good, you know, mental skills, you're probably going to be a bit better positioned towards the end of the race to make those decisions.
Well, that could be a factor for the new race leader, because Robbie Bugden's gone into the front, and he sort of signified his retirement from full-time racing about 5 months ago in Australia, and hadn't done a heck of a lot. He said he still kind of kept his hand in, but when he got the call from the Blue Crew here, Davey Cole, saying, would you like to ride Hayden's bike? He said he jumped at the chance, but he did say to me, he said he'd have his time.
He's got that wealth of experience, and of course that does tell. You know, he's been in positions like this, and if he can keep his head, you know, he'll probably be pretty good at the end there. Yeah, well, he's certainly keeping his head at the moment. The big mover now is Daniel Manning, just trying to get the inside of Damon Rees for 2nd as they work their way out of the Porsche dipper again and down into the big sweeper at the top end of the circuit. Well, I mentioned he's a 5-time New Zealand Superbike champion, is Robbie Bugden. He said to me, he said, I've sort of been focusing on the TT. He said, I'm not in the championships, I haven't got a dog in that fight, but I'd love to win the TT. And at the moment, he's doing very well to do so. 5 laps in the block as E6 as they go across the line. And once again, meeting the left of the lap breakers, tries to go down the inside of Damon Rees as they go into that blind off-camber turn 1. And as he made the pass, I think he might have had a look as they come. Oh, another one running very, very wide. In fact, onto
and then recovers and gets back onto the circuit through 1. Meantime, the action up in turn 2. Have we got a new second place man? We have, but in the second place now. So Riz goes back in the third. Confirm that when they come just a little bit closer. Out through the Swampy's curves they come and heading towards Kev's Carousel. Bugden on the Yamaha in the front. It is the Suzuki in second place. In fact, it's the Suzuki in third as well. So it looks like Scott Moyer's got up ahead of Damon Rees too, as they work their way out into the double B, the double bastard, as Tony Quinn has so eloquently named it. And what a great name for a couple of corners. Well, exciting stuff in the Superbikes. Got both Paul Tracy and Graham Crosby up here, and they're enthralled with the action we're seeing here, and you should be as well. These are the best riders, as we mentioned, Robbie Bugden in Australasia, one of the best motor racing facilities in the Southern Hemisphere now. I've said it, it's better than quite a few other tracks in Australia. It's probably not up to scratch maybe with Phillip Island, and another leader change there by the look of it, as they work their way down the short chute again. So we're going to have a change in position as they come through the sweeper once more. Will it be Bugden? They're getting a lot closer. The Suzukis are ganging up as they head up the top of the hill and put 7 laps in the book this time. So just on half distance, and it is Bugden, but Daniel Meadow right down the inside looking for turn 1 again, as he is known as the last of the late break and has been that way since he was a little teenager when he first started racing motocross bikes and then got into road racing. He's an ex-Red Bull Rookies Cup runner, and for the last 2 seasons he's been on the Superbike. He's a past New Zealand 600 champion. He's about to head to the Northern Hemisphere to extend his racing career. For the moment he's still sitting in second place, so Bugden is holding him out. Yamaha versus Suzuki versus Suzuki versus Suzuki in the form of the Ctas Motorsport sponsor Jay Lawrence, and then it's Sloane Frost, and then it's Mitch Rees. And he's got up ahead of his younger brother. That's the way they crossed the stripe the last time round. Heading out through the double bastard, and the 3 of them are together as they work their way wider and wider through the second of the corners, and that was causing a few problems earlier on in the weekend with the change not only of direction and elevation but also the change of the surface on the racetrack. No problems for the front runners. Still Bugden in the lead. Meet him through in second. Up into the Porsche dipper they'll come. You'll get a good look at them as they work their way through the dipper now. Bugden, 0.099 in front last time around. Meet him is right there. Scott Moyer is right there. Jay Lawrence just taking out the back of the bunch. Down to the bottom end of the circuit they come as we wait for them at the top of the hill. It'll be just past the halfway mark. It is the Tourist Trophy championship up for decision here. It's been going since the 30s in Auckland, as I mentioned. It has been on Waiheke Island, and Daniel Meadow goes into the front with 7 laps to go. So on the Common Suzuki. In the front now from Robbie Bugden through in second. Scott Moyer in third. He's the current Suzuki Series champion. Had a bit of a slow start to the National Series, but has come good here at Hampton Downs, and with 1 round still to come, we go to his home track in Taupo for the decider in a fortnight's time. Or a fortnight's time. I'll try and get my tongue around that again. That's come right through, and that's across what you want to see in it. You want to see these guys, maybe they start in bucket racing and maybe junior motocross, and they keep going and they get better and better and better.
Yeah, I think you're right. The issue is that you've got to have really good competitive races for these guys to develop their skills, and what we're seeing here today is a good example of that.
Absolutely, we're seeing competitive racing, there's no doubt about that, and that gap still under a second between first and second. Just the positions have changed. Bugden goes back into second place, but plenty of racing still to go. I wouldn't consign the trophy just yet to Daniel Meadow. There's a lot more racing to go, and it is round the full international circuit here at Hampton Downs, the 4 kilometres, as we look for the race leaders. In and out of the Porsche dipper they come. If anything, Meatham just looks like he might have extended that advantage just a little wee bit. We'll have a look as they come back to the hill again, below our position here.
Well, he's just set the quickest time, at a 1:35.3, so he's still hanging around. The first 2 or 3 laps, used to it. He's certainly hanging around now.
Yeah, I made the comparison earlier on today, but I mean, they had the Australian GT endurance cars here, and they were using the big circuit, nearly like 600 or 700 horsepower, and Audis and Jaguars and Mercedes and Lamborghinis and God knows what else. They're in the 133s. These guys, 200 horsepower. The difference in the prizes and the costs, and they're in the 134s, 135s. So it's fast. It's obviously good conditions out there for the superbikes. in the book of 15. Met him in the front. Where the hell are they? Just working their way through Kev's carousel, I think, the race leaders at the moment. Just little high-speed dots as we look at them on the cameras. Now they come into the double bastard once again. Still the Suzuki of Dan Metham. Robbie Bugden on the Yamaha in second place now as the laps start to wind down here at Hampton Downs. In fact, that might have changed. It just looked like a more bluer bike than the Suzuki, if that's possible, as they came into the dipper this time round. No, I think it's still not Metham. It's very hard to see as they work down the short chute once again. Well past half distance, it'll be 10 in the book this time round, and it's still a real contest and still lots of laps to go. Paul Tracy, Graham Crosby and Neil Ritchie up here with us now in the crammed combox here at Hampton Downs. But this one is going to go down to the wire, there's no doubt about that, and I think it is Bugden in the front. It is, so Robbie Bugden takes the spot back again from Scott Moyno. So Suzuki's running out second and third. Joe Lawrence on a Suzuki also, but it's the red one. It's the Carl Cox Motorsport sponsored GSXR 1000 that sits in fourth place. But it's the Blue Crew, the Yamaha, being engineered here in New Zealand by Davey Cole. All the experience in the world. The Aussie is in the front. Section of the circuit they go. Laps to run, 5 to go. If we go to the scheduled distance of 15, it's the New Zealand Tourist Trophy up for decision here. They tell me that the Tourist Trophy, the Grand Prix, and then the Nationals at the order that the bike guys like their prizes. And at the moment, it looks like it might be heading to Australia. Have they changed again? No, it looks like they might have swapped round again. So Scott Moyer now will be in the front. We'll get that confirmed very, very shortly. Out of the Highpool hairpin, they head now. And it is the Suzuki of Moyer in the front. And Metham's come back into this as well, and they've just put a little bit of distance between themselves and Jay Lawrence. Into the Porsche dipper they go. Suzuki in the front, Yamaha in second, that's the Suzuki. And sitting back in fifth place and sort of coming back into this now is the points leader in the National Championship chase, and that's Sloane Frost on the TSS Red Baron Fujitsu Suzuki. He's back up into fifth position. Over the hill, they will come very, very shortly, and you'll hear them before you see them, because they'll get up to about 13,000 RPM as they wring the necks on these 1,000cc four-cylinder engines. And look how close it is here. Bugden on the outside. Metham trying to close up to Scott Moyer, and he does, and he takes him around the outside through turn one. You're not meant to be able to do that. That's incredible bit of riding from young Dan Metham. Brilliant, brilliant stuff in the Superbikes. 4 laps to go, folks, in the Tourist Trophy race here. In the front, but it's now Daniel Metham ahead of Scott Moyer through turn 2, no change. Jay Lawrence just starting to lose a little bit of contact with the front 3, and Sloane Frost also losing a little bit of space back there in 5th position. Behind him it's Mitch Rees, and then Damon Rees, and then Jeremy Holmes all the way from Invercargill would be the next one through. Rounding out the top 10 would be Conor Wellington, having his first season on the Superbikes after campaigning in Europe and also on 600s in seasons past here in New Zealand. So the action continues. Out of the double B they come. And it's a freight train, and they're getting closer and closer and closer now as Jay Lawrence has picked up the pace a little. The only one dropping off the back of this at the moment is, and by saying dropping off, he's only dropping off by about 1/10 of a second, and that is Sloane Frost. Over the top they come. Who is it? Is it the Yamaha? Is it the Suzuki? It's the Suzuki. Or is it the Yamaha of Robbie Bugden? I think it's still the Bugden Yamaha out in the front. Down the short chute they'll go. And once again, there is absolutely nothing in this. 1:35.3 for Robbie Bugden that last time round, a 1:35.4 for Scott Moyer, and a 1:35.3 for Daniel Metham. So they're running a pace, but can they sustain it? It'll be 3 laps to go as they come up the hill this time round. And once again, it is the tenacious, the gritty Australian from Queensland, at one stage a landscape gardener, but also a professional motorcycle racer. Robbie Bugden in the front, Metham, Lawrence, Frost, Rees, Holmes, Zamperi. Great performance there from Livio Zamperi from Wellington on the number 12, and that is the BMW, of course. So that is a good performance. And speaking of BMWs, I haven't seen for quite a long time there. In fact, I don't know if they made the start. Honestly, no, he didn't make the start. So Alan de Hugenbosom, his championship campaign starting to fade away. Oh, okay, so just got the tip there from Neil. He got to sustain some industry at that injury, as it's in the earlier race. So bad news for Ellie, or Alistair Hugenbosen. His father hates me calling him Ellie. All right, let's get back into it. Can Bugden do it? Because now we're getting to the business end. 12 in the book of 15, and it's the Yamaha, the Blue Crew Yamaha, flown in as a hotshot replacement for the injured Hayden Fitzgerald. Hayden had a big crash at the Leadfoot Festival and broke his ankle very, very badly, although he seems to be in fine spirits. I saw on Facebook yesterday he was displaying his very much custom painted cast, so hopefully Hayden will be back again. Of course, he's the son of a famous father in Terry. As we get back into this very, very close action down in the sweeper at the bottom end of the circuit once again. And again, there'll be two of them out on their own, then there'll be the lone wolf, and that looks like it might be Dan Metham now. And then in behind them, it'll be Jay Lawrence and Steve Frost. And Frost was back in this as well. Side by side, this time he's on the inside. There's Robbie Bugden, and trying to get around him was Scott Moyer, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't replicate the efforts of Dan Metham in the previous lap. So 13 in the book of 15, so 2 to go. If you're ever holding something back, Cros, it's now time to play all your cards.
Yeah, they'll be struggling with tyre wear and other things out there, in particular, you know, obviously physical tiredness, I suppose. But I think Bugden's all right there. I think he's got it covered.
There you go, man. It's been there and done that many times. Knows the situation. Well, I'm sure knows what's going through the heads of these guys. What they have to do to get this time down. There'll be a bit of a celebration if Robbie can win this, because he's sort of an honorary Kiwi. As I said, he's a 5-time New Zealand Superbike champion. Between him and Andrew Stroud, they locked out the series for nearly 14 years. Just as they go through the hairpin and out and towards the Porsche dipper once again. You wouldn't want to make a mistake, not in this exalted company, and it doesn't look like Bugden's going to do that. He's just changed his line a little bit now. In fact, he's lost the spot. He's lost the spot, I think. I think Scott Moyer's got in the front there. We'll check it as they come a little bit closer. Yep. But I think it's the Suzuki, the Carl Vandermeer Builders Suzuki of Scott Moyer that's got into the front as they work their way through the big sweeper at the bottom end of the circuit. But hard to tell from our vantage point here. As they head up the hill once again, white flag out for the and whilst Bugden takes it back, I'm sure Moyer led them up the hill, but Bugden takes it back. Scott Moyer says, forget that, I'm coming down through the inside, and he does so, and I think he'll go back into the front as they get down the back straight for the very last time. As Scott Moyer played his cards at the optimum time. Has he saved his best performance for the very last lap, because he was back in the front, I think, as they went down into the Foster's turn 2. We'll have a quick look at it. Yeah, hard to say. So many bikes that are cameras here. They're not very high-quality cameras. It may be Bugden, it may be Moyer, but that's just going to build up the tension a little bit here. You can guarantee it's going to be a hell of a race to the finish.
It's Bugden.
It's Bugden back in the front, so Moyer goes back into second place now. The Yamaha stays in the lead here at the Superbike. We're on the last lap. Remember, they're running to the flag. This is for the New Zealand Tourist Trophy Championship. They're one of the most prestigious teams to win in New Zealand cycling, safe for the Grand Prix and the national title. And Bugden's won all them before. Is he going to claim the TT here as well? In and out of the high pull hairpin they come. Bugden on the Yamaha, the Blue Crew R1 Yamaha in the front. It's the Suzuki of Scott Moyer in second. It's another Suzuki in third, and it's another Suzuki in fourth. Oh, and there's a change there as they work their way through the Porsche dipper. Has Moyer. Oh, and there's a big crash as they come through, and I got a feeling that might have been Jay Lawrence. He's slowly getting to his feet. We'll come back to that.
Not enough read on that. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. He's just crawling off the track. Meantime, the racing continues, and I think we've got a switcheroo at the top end of the circuit. It might be the Suzuki now. It's anybody's guess as they rocket up the hill. Will it be the Yamaha? Will it be the Suzuki? This is it. Too close to call. Too close to call. Get the photo out. Hold all tickets. Hold all tickets.
3 1,000s.
Unbelievable stuff. Was it Bugden have been given the win? Daniel met him so close, and he came from nowhere. Scott Moyer third, the other Sloan Frost, and then it was Mitch Rees followed by his brother Damo.
It was Jay Lawrence, you correct me.
And it was Jay Lawrence that had the tumble, but as I said, he was trying to get back to his machine. We'll just go and check on that. What a sensational finish in the Superbikes. We saw a brilliant finish in the Gixxer Cup with less than 20 horsepower. We've seen a brilliant finish in the Superbikes with close to 200. So congratulations, the Quasi, the Australian Kiwi, Robbie Bugden wins the TT here at Hampton Downs. In second place, Glen Eden Stephen Meadow, and in third place, it's Taupo's Scott Moore.
It's good racing.
So we'll just have a look, see what's happening here, and see what the state is with Joe Lawrence.